99X. It's the Morning X. Barnes and Leslie, unless you're living under some sort of weird habitat that's below the earth, you certainly have seen Taylor Swift in your periphery at some point. And it's not a topic that we would normally talk about, but this is so big that it kind of warrants looking at some numbers.
Well, someone that, not only is taking over the music industry, now she's, I think her popularity is spreading into other areas like the NFL. So we brought in an expert, someone who wrote an amazing article. He writes for Billboard, Mr. Glenn Peoples. Hey, Glenn, how are you?
Hey, Glenn.
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
It's just very strange what's happening. I mean, next is she going to be a real estate developer? I mean, I don't know what more she can do, but this impact economically is something. I mean, have we ever seen something like this before?
Well, that's a great question. Lately I've been wondering, is Taylor Swift the new Michael Jackson? And, years ago we were told there'd never be another Michael Jackson, not in the internet age, not when there's no more three big networks and the internet is kind of made everybody less popular overall. And maybe she's the new Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson put his Thriller money into music publishing and made himself quite a fortune doing that. When I look at Taylor Swift, I look at somebody who has a lot of business potential. Somebody told me she could be the next Reese Witherspoon, who started a production company and has made movies and got an investment from a big private asset manager. And, now Taylor Swift has a movie in the theaters that's supposed to do about $100 million domestically at the box office, and that's self-distributed to the theaters, right? So she's doing it herself. Going to have a huge impact.
Glenn, can you put it into terms for people listening? She's dominating the charts. How big she is dominating all of the charts. Yeah,
I talked about how her music sales and streams have been this year, and some 11 something million equivalent album units, and that is Luminate, who people might know by the old name SoundScan, that tracks sales and streams, combines sales and streams into album equivalent units, converts streams and tracks sales into album sales, just so there's a metric that people can use. She's far ahead of the number 2 artist of the year, Morgan Wallen, who's had a pretty incredible year. But she has the most track sales, the most physical album sales, the most digital album sales, and the most streams of any artist in the U.S. this year.
When you look at all what she's done in the theater with selling branded popcorn and drink cups and all this merch, I mean, obviously she sees a cut of that, right? Because she self-distributed this thing.
Well, I don't know the particulars of the deals that she has with the movie theater chain. I can tell you of this really illuminating experience I had at her show at the Bridgestone Arena, maybe in Nashville, maybe a decade ago. And I got up to stretch my feet during the show, and I went to one of the merch tables, and I ended up talking to the guy in charge of merch sales. And he was telling me about the sales that they do at concerts. And it was pretty amazing. I don't recall right off what the per head sales were, but it was far and above any other artist that I had ever heard. She had merch tables positioned throughout the concourse of the arena. She had a merch table outside, so you didn't have to be in the arena to buy merch. Had a lot of different products, and the prices were really affordable, which I know people who go to arenas know that, they tend to be kind of expensive and their fees tacked on for the artists. And she had taken merch at concerts and events to a whole new level. And so I think that that's probably going to carry over to any live event that she has at theaters, at concerts. Her and her team were just thinking far ahead of everybody else at the time, I think.
We're talking to Glenn Peoples from Billboard magazine. Wrote an article, Taylor Swift's financial impact may be even greater than we had expected. Yeah, those merch lines for the Eras Tour are ridiculous. Were you surprised about how she affected the NFL in ratings and also with, jersey sales for Kelsey?
I was surprised. It's, I guess there was a lot of talk on sports radio and sports TV about the work the NFL has done to attract young females, and the NFL had not had much success, and here comes Taylor Swift doing exactly what they had been trying to do.
You said something key right there. They've been trying to do this, and that's why my conspiracy is that this is all a play. I'm serious that the NFL paid her some insane amount of money because, come on, you're going to see her showing up at 3 games. I mean, I just don't buy it that it's just because of this little crush on Travis Kelce that I'm serious that she's making her way into suites. Everyone's talking about it. The NFL's the big winner. There's no way there is not a dollar amount attached somewhere in a trace to Taylor Swift's bank account.
Barnes, and your conspiracy theory.
It's just, I don't buy it.
Well, we'll know soon enough. I mean, it looks like they're full on dating.
It looks, right?
Glenn, you did bring up earlier an interesting thing about Reese Witherspoon, because, Reese went on to obviously diversify and start Hello Sunshine, which has had several wildly successful movies, and series. And that's actually a really interesting, could we see, Taylor's acted a little bit. Could we see that next?
We could see that next. She could, she could start with a few of her own, film documentaries, or maybe not documentaries, whatever they are, film movies, right? Mm-hmm. She could do a number of these to get the ball rolling. I think that she has enough kind of cross-generational appeal that she could go into theaters.
She doesn't have to act. She can just show up.
Yeah.
She could be involved. Her name attached to something, just like Reese's name attached to something, matters in getting content produced, getting films produced, getting TV produced.
You guys talk like Reese is so much bigger than Taylor. I think Taylor Swift is way bigger than Reese Witherspoon.
I don't know. Hello Sunshine, I think one company acquired it for like $900 million that you talked about in your article. So
yeah.
That's a lot, but look at the money Taylor Swift is generating, and we're not even into her selling like an audio version of this movie. And when she sells it to some streamer for some ridiculous amount of money, I just feel like she, as a businesswoman, if you had those two toe to toe, Reese is great and everything, I love me some Reese, but Taylor Swift is redefining the economics of the entertainment industry right before our eyes.
It's really not hard to imagine that if she started a production company, and we could just speculate on what kind of stuff they would create. It could be music, it could be theatrical, but could she get an investment of a few $100 million from some smart money kind of company, big investment company, asset manager, hedge fund? People would be lining up to invest in it if she chose to take that route. And she's so busy with releasing music and touring that maybe right now that's not going to happen, but it certainly could in the future. And
dating. I feel like we really had a shot to have her on our show a few years ago, Fram, when you were like, yeah, we'll get it worked out. Now there's no chance. No chance. It ain't going to happen.
Slim, but Glenn, thank you. Yeah, we'd love to have you back on for the next big story, but thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. Glenn Peoples from Billboard Magazine.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie. 99.